quote the basketball star. The hell's his name? Charles Barkley. Thank you. Terrible idea. Terrible. So I want to bring this up here. And excuse me, because the new layout, I've got things messed up here a little bit. I got to twist around and fix things after the show. Didn't think about that. But anyway, Bill Bennett has contributed this piece to CNN, and where he's calling out Barney Frank. He says, from precincts on the left, Barney Frank, and people on the right, Ron Paul, want to legalize drug use, starting with marijuana. Ron Paul even says he's go so far as to legalize heroin. So right out of the gate, Bill Bennett starts off with this idea that it's something about legalization, of heroin, right? Because you understand, when they make these comments, they always have to make these comments in context of other drugs, because most people aren't that scared of marijuana. So immediately starts with this little heroin reference. Now, the next thing that he comes up here says, let's see, let me get to this part. He tries to defend this. Bill Bennett tries to defend this. Now remember, Bill Bennett is a guy who drinks alcohol, smokes cigarettes, and has admitted to having $11 million worth of gambling debt. Okay, so here's, pot, meat, kettle. But anyway, he is saying that the first thing about keeping drugs illegal, the reason why we have to keep drugs illegal is because it's the best way to keep drugs out of the hands and brains of children. What about the children? Always got to go there. We know three things here. First, children who do not use drugs continually tell us one of the reasons they don't is precisely because they're illegal. So I guess the point here is that we have to lock up adults. We have to ruin adults' lives so that kids don't smoke pot. That seems to be Bill Bennett's position here. If we do not incarcerate adults, if we do not make it illegal, if we do not steal their property, if we do not break into their homes in the dead of night with no-knock warrants and shoot their pets, if we don't go to all that trouble, kids might smoke pot. But here's the problem with that logic, Bill Bennett. Kids are smoking pot. Right now, among American 12th graders, we've got about 40% of them that say that they have smoked pot within their lifetime. We have got kids that are saying that is easy or fairly easy, and numbers of 80% and higher for the past decades that we've asked this question, how easy it is for you to get pot, and they all say it's easier to get than alcohol or tobacco. So the kids are smoking pot. Now, he continues to try to defend this, saying, at least since 1975, report after report has found that perceptions of risk and social disapproval of drug use correlate very closely with drug-taking behavior. When people in the prevention community ask teens who don't use drugs why they don't, time and time again, the answer comes back, because it's illegal. This explains why a greater percentage of teens abuse legal substances like tobacco and alcohol over illegal drugs such as marijuana, even when they say marijuana is easily accessible. So what he's trying to do here is he's trying to say that by keeping marijuana illegal, that keeps kids from wanting to take it. At least the kids who aren't using it. The ones that, the great numbers that aren't already using it. Now, it's kind of a silly argument when you look just over across the pond at the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, where the use of marijuana by adults is tolerated, where they don't feel like they have to lock people up in order to prevent kids from using pot, we have half the rates of marijuana use among kids in Holland as we do in America. For some reason, American kids won't smoke pot if we lock up adults, but Dutch kids, they just don't smoke pot even though they don't lock up adults. And in fact, if we look at the youth part of it, because he says that keeping drugs out of the hands of children is the best way to prevent drug addiction generally. If we keep a child drug-free until age 21, the chances of use in adulthood are next to zero. By the way, I must be one of those next to zeros, because I didn't smoke pot until I was 22, Bill Bennett. But anyway, he says keep it out of the hands of children. Well, again, looking at the example of the Netherlands, 3 times as many 15-year-olds are using pot in the Netherlands, or using pot in America, as they are in the Netherlands. And his final bit of defense here, he tries to say we don't have to guess at hypothetical legalization schemes because legally prescribed narcotics has already proven it. We have an epidemic despite doing the oversight, regulation, and prescription requirements. Well, yeah, we have an epidemic of prescription drug abuse because prescription drugs are advertised like crazy and handed out like candy from doctors' offices that are constantly pressured by these pharmaceutical companies to give out these samples. And why are they giving out these samples instead of allowing people to use the medical marijuana that they want to use? You've created the epidemic in legalization of these drugs. When we talk about legalization of marijuana, we often talk about advertising restrictions. If you're so concerned, Bill Bennett, about the prescribed narcotics overdoses, how about restricting the advertising on TV from the drug ads we get every 5 seconds?
of the earth.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation.
We have so much more to talk about on this issue. Well, stay tuned for hour 2. We'll talk about it and take your calls at 971-533-7111 for Wiz Coleco and Ganja John. I'm Radical Russ. For everyone here at Normal Show Live, thanks for listening, and until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
It goes down smooth.